Good morning. We will call to order our MAPS 4 Citizens Advisory Board meeting for February 5th, 2026. First item is the minutes from our January 8th meeting. Are there any changes, corrections, additions? If not, I'd take a motion in a second to approve. Okay, so we're going to do this verbally. Okay, all right. Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Great, motion passes. We'll move on to item 2B, receive the MAPS 4 monthly financial report ending December 31st, 2025.
You have that in your packet. I'll go over it briefly. On the revenue side, for the month, $11,926,870, fiscal year of $74,991,320, and total of $781,040,530. I'd like to bring your attention to the projected revenue is 3.6 above projections. Now, on the expenditure side for the month, $7,091,989, fiscal year of $49,030,892, and total of $418,817,752. I'll try to answer any questions if you have any.
Questions on that report? Not, I'd take a motion in a second to receive. Looks like we're back to trying electronic. All right. Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Item 2C, construction update on the MAPS 4 Oklahoma City Louisa McCune Animal Welfare Center.
We'd like to periodically bring you updates on the construction of various projects we have. And today, Todd Edmonds from HSE Architects is here to show you what's going on at the Oklahoma City Louisa McCune Animal Welfare Center.
Welcome.
Todd.
Thank you, David. Appreciate that. Good morning, Chairperson and Board. We're pleased to be here this morning to present to you the construction update for the Oklahoma City Louisa McCune Animal Welfare Center. So you'll see in some upcoming construction photos that we're making very good progress. We'll also present to you the current cost updates as well as the construction schedule. So just as a refresher, since it's been a while since we've been here, to remind you that the new animal shelter is being built on the existing site just north of the existing animal shelter building. As you can see here in this site map, to orient you, to the east is South Bryant Avenue, on the west is Grand Boulevard, and to the south is Southeast 29th Street. So you can see the new building there on the north end of this slide. And also to remind you, this building will be built in 2 phases. So phase 1 includes the main building on the very far top of this site plan, and then phase 2, once phase 1 is completed, they will move out of the existing shelter into the new building, and then phase 2 would be the removal of the existing building and the construction of the new large animal barn, parking, and horse pasture. We'll start off here with some construction photos. This is an aerial view, drone view from directly overhead the new main building. And you can see there on the far right, that is what we're calling the main building, where the public would enter. There are 4 entry points there. On the very bottom left-hand corner is the training room, and then just north of that is the 2-story adoption lobby. Just north of that is the intake lobby, and then north of that would be the clinic lobby. And then everything to the west of that, or to the left on this slide, would be the cat and dog kennels. And you can see where they are separated into wings. The dirt areas in between will become artificial turf for outdoor play yards for the animals. And then on the very far left of this slide, at the bottom corner, that is what we call the Sally Port. And that is where the animal control officers would drive their trucks in and unload the animals. And then just above that is a large storage room. So you can see also in this photo, the roofing, almost all of the walls are complete and the roofing is beginning to be installed there on the front half of the building. The silver part is roof decking that goes underneath the roofing, and then the white part is actually the final roofing on those flat roof areas. So we're making good progress there. Here's another shot, aerial view from Bryant Avenue looking toward the west. So again, you can see here on the very far left is the training room, which we are now calling Commons. And then to the right of that is the two-story adoption lobby. To the right of that is the intake lobby, and then the clinic lobby on the very far right. And to orient you, you can see there's an existing Oklahoma City Police Department building on the very far right. That building was existing to remain. And then on the very far left, you can see that in the background there is the existing animal shelter facility, and that will be removed, and that's where the large animal barn will be installed. In this aerial view, again, look at, basically from the Bryant side, looking toward the southwest or northwest, you can get an overall picture here. You can start to see where all the parking lots will be. The concrete curbs and gutter are installed, and then the light kind of tan dirt areas, that will all become asphalt paving. And then you can see on the very far right there where the entrance will come in. That's the main public entrance off of Bryant. And then in the very far top of the slide, you can see another entrance off of Grand Boulevard, and that's where all of the staff and the animal control officers will come in and out on a daily basis. There's another look at the front. That's the two-story adoption lobby right there in the middle. And then this is a close-up of the commons area or the training room. The purple that you see here, that's not the final finish. We will not have a purple building. So that is the exterior sheathing that goes up first, and then they are applying this green liquid applied waterproofing over top of that sheathing. And then the final exterior siding and concrete block will be installed over that. Here's a look at the south end of the kennels. This is standing in what will be the south parking lot, looking back toward the kennels. You can see here that the concrete block work is nearing completion, and the steel roof structure is beginning. Here's a look standing in the two-story adoption lobby, looking back towards Bryant or to the east. This is a two-story space, and you can see that there is a second floor here on either side of this two-story space, and that will be office space on that second floor. Let me back up. You can also see there will be exposed wood trusses in this space. They're currently covered with a plastic wrap to protect them, but those will be exposed in the final days of the project. Here's a look standing in the intake lobby, looking out towards Bryant to the east. Here's an image looking from the clinic lobby, looking out towards the east. And then this is in the commons area, again looking out towards the east, towards the front of the building. Here's an image standing in one of the kennel wings, looking towards the southwest. You can see the openings on the right there will become windows to allow light into these kennel rooms. There's some linear strips down, 2 linear strips down either side here, and those are the floor drains that will be in the kennel areas. Here's another look in a kennel, in one of the kennels. And then this last one, this is another kennel. You can see here that the floor has not been completed yet. What you see there is the steel reinforcing that will be in the concrete. You can see the linear drains down the middle. These areas have to be poured separate because they slope to those drains, and so that is about to be completed. And then this is the sally port that I mentioned. This is where the animal control officers pull in, where those red bollards are. That's where the trucks pull in, and the masonry here is still ongoing. And then this is the cat housing wing. The roofing you can see here is already installed, so they've started to install the steel metal framing on the interior of the building. And then once the building is actually dried in, we'll begin to put sheetrock on those walls. Here's a view from the second floor looking into that adoption lobby. Again, looking to the southeast towards Bryant, towards the front. And then here's another view standing on that second floor looking in the other direction towards the southwest. So when you look across this lobby, you'll see there will be glass wall on both sides of this this adoption lobby so that you can see from one side over to the other. I want to review, we have a change order number 3 for your approval today, and I want to just review some of the items that are in this change order. I'll just kind of highlight some of the major items. The number 1 there is electrical gear modification, and this is for an automatic transfer switch that needed to be increased from 1,200 amps to 1,600 amps in order to accommodate the load for the emergency generator. And then items 3, 6, 13, and 13 through 16 are all structural modifications that were determined throughout the shop drawing review phase and coordinating with the actual steel and truss fabricators. So there was some additional steel that was required during that process. Item number 7 and item number 19 were both related to an unforeseen fiber optic line that was discovered during construction along Bryant Avenue. And so there were some other utilities in there that had to be relocated, and then the detention pond was right on top of that fiber line. It had to be reconfigured also to avoid that fiber optic line. And then an incinerator was added, item number 8. This incinerator will be paid for through separate funding that is separate from the MAPS project. This is some funding that was allocated for an incinerator before we even started the project. They just didn't want to install it in their current facility and then have to move it, so they held on to that bucket of money separate that is now being used to pay for that incinerator. And then, let's see what else. Item number 17, below the front stairs of the building, we are using that area to house cats. And because that area under the stair is occupied, it is required to be fire rated. And so the additional fire rating on the glass storefront glazing and doors is now required to be fire rated. And so that's that addition there. And then I'll skip down to item number 20, standing seam metal roofing. When we designed this project or put it out to bid, the entire facility has composition shingle roofing on it, similar to what you might have at your home. But here we're proposing, because at the point we're at in this project, we feel that it is safe to dip into the contingency a little bit, and we think that upgrading that roofing to a standing seam metal roofing would be a good value added to the project. It will be a much longer lasting, more durable material, and that will just be on what I was calling the front main building. On the kennels, we would still have the composition shingle roofing. So total change order number 3 is $646,000. It's 646,178. The original contract amount was 34,257,000. And then there were two previous change orders that amount to $141,139.81. So the new contract amount with change order number 3 is $35,044,317.81. And this represents an increase of 2.3% above the original amount. Yeah, if you could switch, let's see, I need to, okay. So looking at the schedule, so change order number 1 added 71 days, change order number 2 added 5 days, change order number 3, 2 days. And so the original substantial completion date was January 25th of 2027. And with those additional days, we're now looking at a substantial completion date of April 18th, 2027. And a look ahead at some of our milestone dates. We have a tentative topping out ceremony scheduled for March 3rd of this year, so just around the corner. And then tentative building dried in, which means all roofing, windows, doors, walls, completely dried in so that we can start doing the interior work. That date is tentatively March 20th of this year. And then phase 2, which is the main building completion at the August of 26th of this year. And then phase 2, which would include that large animal barn, would be April 18th of next year.
Okay.
And that's all I have to report. Any questions?
Any questions for Todd? It's exciting. Looks good.
Absolutely.
I just had one question on the roof. What was it just not included in the original budget because of budget constraints?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, during the design process, we actually had it in there, and then in order to make sure that the project came within budget, we took it out. It was a value engineering item that we pulled out and switched to the composition roofing.
Okay, thank you.
The other thing, Ryan, is to know that we have roughly $1.4 million in contingency. So this was the time to start peeling that off and doing these kind of things.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Todd, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being here. Item 2D, recommend approval of change order number 3 with Crossland Construction, Oklahoma City Louisa McCune Animal Welfare Center for an increase of $646,178. Take a motion in a second. Motion passes. Item 2E, recommend approval of final plans and specifications to be advertised for bid for the Oklahoma City Robert Ravitz Crisis Center.
Right, so this is the first of our mental health projects. Crystal Dinker from SA Studio is here to take you through these final plans.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. This is the final plan presentation for the Mental Health Crisis Center. This project is at 1200 Northeast 13th Street. This is an exterior rendering of the front of the building. This is an exterior rendering of the front of the building, but it's of the administration wing. This is an interior rendering of the Urgent Recovery Center. This will be the large room with the observation stations and the social living space. This is an interior rendering of the Crisis Stabilization Unit. This is the centralized social living area for the space. This is the floor plan for the project. Our project had 5 different components to our program: the entry and exit, the Urgent Recovery Center, the Crisis Stabilization Unit, the shared services, and the administrative area. To start with the entry and exit, we have 2 entries and exits into the facility. The first is going to be a walk-in entry from the parking lot. The second entry is going to be a first responder entry, and that will be in a secured parking area just for first responders. Both of these entries are going to funnel into a central screening and processing area. And off of that screening and processing area, there will be a toilet shower room, a consultation room, an exam room, a clean clothes storage, and a property storage. Also centralized into this space is the security office. The security office will have visual access to both the walk-in entry and the first responder entry, as well as overlooking the screening and processing room. Moving on to the Urgent Recovery Center, this will consist of mainly one large room that will hold up to 25 observation stations and a centralized social living space. Off this large room, there'll be individual toilet and toilet shower rooms, a calming room, a treatment room, and a consultation room. The staff will have two different work areas in this space. The first will be an open staff station that is within the room itself. Then they will have a secure work area behind a set of doors that will have visual access into the space as well. Then in this staff space, there will also be a unit supervisor office and a medication room. Then we move to the crisis stabilization unit. There will be two separate independent units for this project. This is one of the units. They will be separated by a shared cafeteria. Each of the units will consist of 16 bedrooms with a centralized social living space. Off the social living space, there will be a group therapy room, a laundry room, individual toilets and toilet shower rooms, a treatment room, a calming room, and a consultation room. The staff area is going to be set up very similar to the Urgent Recovery Center. There'll be an open staff work area in the social milieu itself, and then there'll be a secure work area behind that. In the secure work area, there'll also be a staff toilet, a individual staff restroom, or a unit supervisor office, and a med room. Each individual stabilization unit will also have an exterior courtyard for consumers that they will be able to access with supervised staff. Our next component is the shared staff services. This will be staff only. Consumers will not be allowed in these spaces. This will consist of the kitchen, the soiled utility, clean supplies, any bulk supplies, housekeeping, and a laundry room, as well as general building, mechanical, and electrical rooms. This is the enlarged kitchen plan. We have been working with our kitchen consultants to specify all the equipment. There will be a full service kitchen in this facility with a walk-in cooler, walk-in freezer, cooking abilities, a dishwasher, beverage dispensers, and all the support equipment needed. We will have a servery off of our cafeteria that will be where they will roll in heated cabinets that have trays pre-made from the cafeteria. Then they will serve that through an open overhead coiling shutter door into the cafeteria. There will also be a refrigerator and a microwave in the servery. They will store meals on trays in the refrigerator and warm them up as needed for anyone that may come in after meal times or between meal times that needs a hot meal. And then there'll be beverage dispensers and ice machines in the cafeteria. Moving to the administration wing, this will be a combination of both private and shared offices, a conference room, a staff lounge, and staff toilet and shower. We have gone through and done our drawing coordination. We have took the architectural components, the structural components, and the building system components, including mechanical and electrical systems. We have built these all in 3D models and combined them into one model in the effort to look for any conflicts that potentially might come up during construction. We have done exterior building material selection. We will have two different colored bricks, one stone and cast stone accents. There will be anodized aluminum storefronts to match the anodized aluminum canopy on the front of the building as well. We have done interior finish selections. This is for risk level 1, which is the staff-only areas. We kept it very simple, very neutral. Moving into risk levels 2 through 5, this is where the consumers will be in these spaces. We've brought in warm wood tones, soothing colors, murals with nature scenes to try to make this warm and welcoming and less institutional. We have gone through and done all the product selection as well. We've worked with our behavioral health consultant to evaluate all of the products available in the market. We have evaluated ligature resistance, self-harm, durability, and cost. And in these reviews, we've also tried to keep in mind that we want to keep this looking as homey as possible. So we've made decisions such as, instead of picking a steel sink and steel toilet, we've gone ahead and got the powder-coated option, so they're white, so they look more like your residential toilets. We have done furniture selection as well for our behavioral health. We have gone with a mixture of different styles and colors, again, just to try to keep this less institutional and more home and welcoming. All of these furnitures will either be bolted to the floor or they'll be ballasted with sand to 75 pounds to eliminate the risk of self-harm to the consumers. We have 3 building alternates with this project. The first one is in green, and that includes 8 beds in the CSU unit, the social living space, the outdoor courtyard, and the staff support areas. Alternate number 2 is in yellow, and that is an additional 8 beds in the CSU wing. And alternate number 3 is in blue, and that is some administrative areas that can be housed off-site. Our project budget for this project is $11,456,100. Our base bid construction estimate is $11,332,500, and that includes 16 CSU beds. Alternate number 1 is $1,631,255, and that includes 8 CSU beds plus additional support spaces. Alternate number 2 is $802,730, and that includes an additional 8 CSU beds. Alternate number 3 is $157,585, and that includes the administrative space. And then alternate number 4 is $48,415, and that is for a detention pond. If we select all 3 alternates to construct, we will be right at the edge of whether or not the city will require a detention pond. So until we get that final determination from them, we've gone ahead and done it as an alternate so we can see the cost and have that cost. A couple of items to note: alternate number 2 cannot be taken without alternate number 1. They must be taken sequentially. And then if we're able to take alternate number 1 and alternate number 2, which would give us the full 32 beds for this facility, we have received a pledge for a private donation of $1 million to add to the project budget. Looking at schedule, the building demolition of the current site is going to drive this schedule, but this is, from our knowledge, this is kind of the best we have at this time. We expect site demolition to begin at any time, and we'll get a schedule at that point to know what their demolition schedule looks like. We are currently bringing final plans for approval from the committees. We hope to send this project out to bid this month and get bids to come in March, which would allow us to come back in April to you with a recommendation for contract and contractor. If that happens and we're able to award the contract in April, we would be able to give notice to proceed in May to the contractor, which would put us at a construction completion of August of 2027. Is there any questions?
Okay, any questions? It's good. Done a lot of work. Did you have a question, Jessica? Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, so we need a motion and a second to approve the final plans and specs. Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Item 2F, recommend approval of real estate purchase agreement with the Oklahoma Department of Mental Health Substance Abuse Services and the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Real Estate Trust for the Oklahoma City Robert Ravitz Crisis Center for $1 million. Or $1, sorry. I added some zeros, sorry, for $1. Okay, any questions? Okay, if not, I'd take a motion in a second. The motion passes. We are striking item 2G. So moving on to 2H, recommend receipt of annual report from the MAPS 4 Homeless Program.
Right, as required by their agreement. We have an annual report from Oklahoma City Housing Authority, and Greg Shin is here to take you through that report.
Welcome, Greg. How are you? It's good to see you.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me here again. I want to commend the previous presenters on the quality of what they're showing you guys, and the high-quality resolution of those drone photos was amazing to me when I was looking at them. So I hope to be able to present the same kinds of things going forward here on these projects. So just as a reminder here for our annual report, these are our benchmarks in our operating agreement with the city, is that we would produce 500 supportive housing units. We would renovate 1,500 existing public housing units, and we would produce 150 workforce units over the 5 allocations. And right now, looking at the investments that we're making on our map by neighborhood location or by the ward that they're located in, you can see how we're spreading out these investments, and the projects that we're lining up in the pipeline now will add to this community location and the spread of our sites where we're making the investments. I really have a personal goal to have a project in every single ward because I think that will really show the shared responsibility of the city to expand affordable housing in all neighborhoods. So the first budget allocation, we going over what we've already expended or committed, and you'll see that we spent all the administration money from the first allocation. We still have $1 million committed to the Oak Grove project, which is now projected at 306 units. We will probably have to make another allocation or two from the second allocation or the third allocation towards this project as it moves forward. Creston Park, we still have $2.5 million committed to that project. However, it's on pause right now, which I will talk a little bit more about later in this presentation. The pre-development fund is in progress. That's a revolving fund. The supportive housing project at Vita Nova, which is number 2, we've committed $3.4 million in MAPS funding there. And that timeline will be discussed in just a little bit. And Dorset Place, we've expended $2 million in MAPS funding there. And as a reminder, Phase 1 is 37 units, but when the MAPS money was used to acquire that property, it came with a second building, so that will be Phase 2 of another 33 units. I don't have the timeline on that yet, so that will take additional funding. So here's Dorset Place Veteran Community, the 37 units. This is completed. It's in occupancy right now. As of this report, it had 22 veterans living there. Occupancy is now up to 27. They're making progress on having veterans that have experienced homelessness tour the facility, but just to say that this is only one of the site selections that we have in our partnership with the HUD-VASH team, the VA Medical Center. There are other locations that the Housing Authority offers vouchers to the HUD-VASH veterans. So they have not only Dorset Place to choose from, but all the other locations where we have vouchers available. So the lease up isn't instant. So they tour the facility, they get approved, and then they choose it by them. They choose that's the place they want to live because it meets their needs. So it's just a little bit of clarification on that. Vita Nova, again, This is a concept a little bit like you heard in the previous presentation. Some of these design elements that you're seeing here, these are alternates that I'll bring forward with more detail, but when we're looking at our base bid versus the alternates, some of the screening that you're seeing in the concept photos, those are add alternates in our bid. So right now we're in progress, and we are getting ready to go out for the permanent debt financing and get term sheets from different lenders right now. We did select our GC, which is Thompson Construction, and BOK will be providing the construction loan. Relocation should be complete by May 1st of this year. There's just a handful of people that were living there, and so construction can then commence, and we think that the whole project will be done by April of 2027. So when we look at the leveraged funds from these projects, right now we still have the $2.5 million committed to Creston Park, but we're refinancing that project, and it's on hold right now while we have community conversations and community engagement with the assistance of Councilor Pennington. We have a disparate group has been pulled together, including Restore OKC, Northeast Placekeepers, the City Planning Department, other advocates from the community, the Alliance for Economic Development. Everybody's at the table looking at the best and most acceptable way to proceed as the community weighing in on the plans for this site. Right now, we've provided multiple proposals. We have agreed to table those proposals right now while we convene these meetings and come out with a plan that hopefully can satisfy everyone. The only thing I have to say about it, we do have a timeline with HUD. The approval from HUD is already there for us to convey this property to our nonprofit development arm, or we could sell it at fair market value to someone else. So these are some of the options that are on the table right now, but there is no clear pathway forward at this time. We're just in the engagement process right now. So that's on hold. Oak Grove Apartments, we have a total of 306 units right there, which is 288 units existing right now. 18 of those will be demoed, and 36 new construction units will be built on site. So the development budget right now is a little bit over $100 million. So the MAPS funding only represents 1% of that. The leveraging is over $100 million right now. Dorset Place Supportive Housing number 1. Total development costs are $4.7 million. The MAPS funding was $2 million initially, so total leveraging there is projected at $2.1 million. Vita Nova Supportive Housing, $3.4 million has been allocated to MAPS from MAPS 4, and that is going to be about 18.7% of the total project, so which is expected to be over $11 million. So the second allocation, we are still monitoring the expenditure of the administrative funds. Will Rogers Courts, we're committing $2.5 million from the second allocation to this project. That's 348 units is what's existing there right now. The supportive housing project number 3 is with a third-party developer called We Host Alliance. We committed $1.35 million in MAPS funding to that project. Shiloh Apartments is another partnership with a third-party developer called Elmington Affordable. We have $1 million committed to that from MAPS. We still have $5.5 million that's uncommitted. We do have more projects in the pipeline, but I'm not putting them on here yet until we commit MAPS funding with a specific dollar amount. So in planning, this is the We Host Alliance project located across from the Homeless Alliance campus. We have the MOU with the developer. There'll be 38 units there. Those 38 units will all have project-based vouchers to guarantee affordability to these supportive housing units, which will be targeting people that are experiencing homelessness in the 0 to 50% of AMI area income levels. So they will all need these vouchers. $1.35 million from MAPS, but the total project is $6.5 million. Here on the first workforce housing project, again, now this will be 80 to 120% of AMI. That's the units that qualify. So this project will finance units that will be available to 80% of AMI households, along with 55 project-based vouchers from the Housing Authority, so that we're providing opportunities for lower income families with a voucher to move into this area where there is no affordable housing. This is in a very opportunity zone area where there's goods, services, jobs, grocery stores, all kinds of amenities there, but there's no affordable housing. So these 55 units will come into this mixed income project. The MOU with Elmington is signed. It's under subsidy layering review right now. What that means is that when there are HUD dollars, like with the project-based vouchers, HUD must approve the rents that are projected, go through the other subsidies that are being used to finance this project, and make sure that everything is in compliance. So that should be completed, and we do expect constructions to start in the middle of this year.
Can I ask a question real
Yes.
quick? And I appreciate your work. I'm not questioning your work. I just want to make sure this is right in my head. Total development cost is for the purchase and redevelopment of the property, correct?
Total development costs means all the hard and soft costs that come into the financing of the project. So that would be the total hard dollar construction cost, plus all of the costs that it takes to file for the tax credits and have syndicators. So there's a lot of other soft costs that are involved in these projects. So when I talk about total development costs, I'm adding that all together, the administration of the project.
That doesn't include the subsidization, does it, or does it not?
So that comes from HUD.
Okay.
The cost of subsidizing the units comes out of the voucher contract that we get every single year at the Housing Authority from HUD. It's part of the voucher allocation that we have, which is capped. So what we can do is we can commit 25% of our total vouchers under HUD regulations towards project basing them at other locations, either locations owned by the Community Enhancement Corporation, or in this case, Elmington Affordable's partnership with the CEC, where we are in the ownership structure, so we can award vouchers to this site. But that does not come out of MAPS funding at all.
Right.
That is HUD funding that's going to this project. That's why it has to go through subsidy layering review.
So here's what always kind of blows my mind is I look at total development cost and I look at number of units, right? And so on this one, the per unit cost is like $358,000
Yes, sir.
for an apartment.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm right there with you. And I've been doing this for a long time, and it used to be that you would see $150,000 a unit, then you would see $250,000, now $350,000 is standard. As a matter of fact, I looked at other projects coming to the market right now, and that $350,000 was in the middle of the range of project delivery for total development costs. Because when I looked at it, I'm trying to get my head around why it's costing $350,000. There are so many things that are related to that. The permitting, everything that has to go through it. So anything that can be done to streamline those processes and lower those fees and costs that are associated with administering a project like that can help lower the TDC on a project. But some of this is just not going to go away because we're in a heavily regulated environment. And especially when you start adding tax credits into the deal, now there's layers of who has to sign off on it. And there's more legal costs at every step along the way. So
Great, thank you.
I appreciate your asking that question. I just want to say that I think the really fabulous thing here is that Elmington is a really accomplished developer, and they're creating affordable housing in this opportunity area, which I think is a real win for MAPS. So anyway, public housing project number 3, again, I talked previously about Creston Park and Oak Grove. So the third project is Will Rogers Courts. And these all go towards our total of 1,500 units being redeveloped toward public housing. Okay, so here we have 348 existing units, and it's public housing currently. And we have been pursuing the Choice Neighborhoods Implementation Grant, which was released in December of 2025. The City of Oklahoma City, along with the Housing Authority, will be applying together for the implementation grants, which will be awards up to $26 million, and they are highly competitive. We estimate that about 3 of those can be approved across the country. And we were a Choice Neighborhoods Planning Grant co-applicant with the city, and one of the requirements for the current NOFO, the funding opportunity from HUD for the $26 million award, is that you were a previous planning grant award. And we had that already with the city. We completed our planning grant, so that we're meeting that threshold right there to apply for the $26 million. But it will be highly competitive. And we're working on that application right now, and we're trying to secure a build first site near Will Rogers Courts so that we can actually start doing new construction as a part of the replacement housing when we start relocating everybody when demolition has to begin. So this is just an application that we're submitting right now. So when we look at all of that, that is just in application. We have the $2.5 million committed to Will Rogers for the second allocation. We're in that application phase right now. We Host Alliance, we committed $1.35 million, and that is 18.8% of the total development cost. So the leveraging there is about $5.9 million. Shiloh Flats, 132 units, we committed $1 million, and the total development cost there is over $46 million, and that's on HUD review. And Dorset Place Phase 2, as I said, we're still looking, what are we going to do with those the second building and the 33 units? 18.5% is out of the total projected development cost, but we're just in planning phase on that. So these projections from the second allocation can really be moving. I just want to say that as the total development costs on these projects change over time, the percentages will move around. So these are early projections, but I want to show you what we're trying to do to leverage dollars back, because in our original operating agreement, we said we were going to leverage over $400 million. So this is why we're trying to track that for you by each project. So this gives you our project schedules that we have right now. Creston Park, as I said, is under redesign, or it's on hold. Oak Grove is scheduled to go to construction in mid-2027. Dorset Place Phase 1 is complete. Vita Nova Supportive Housing Number 2 is scheduled to start construction in the middle of this year, and then be completed by the first quarter of 2027. We have Shiloh Flats, which should be under construction at the same time as Vita Nova, and as We Host Alliance. They should all be in construction this year. The other deliverables that we have for the annual report beyond the housing development is to provide the results of our audit, which was completed by Clifton Larson Allen. They did identify 2 financial findings that were internal controls here, and so the board has addressed those. We have issued a management letter, and none of the findings had anything to do with any of the financing for MAPS projects. I want to make that point clear. So we're already getting those back in compliance and working on resolving those. The other thing that we're tracking here are the resident comments. We're required to have an open comment system. So we're collecting these comments in 3 different ways. We have a comment phone line and a web-based reporting system that's staffed by OCHA, and we can immediately respond to any comments from the public made through either of those methods. We have an annual plan meeting that's open to residents. We have these annual plan meetings held at multiple locations during the course of the year, And comments are always taken at those annual plan meetings from any residents or member of the public that attends. And then we elicit the annual survey from ETC, which is a third party. And so these are the ways that we get comments all year long. So the results of the ETC survey this year show overwhelmingly in every one of these categories that either the reports are either excellent or good. The comments that come in from the residents that are solicited across all of our projects, which includes all of our public housing locations, as well as the hundreds of units that are subsidized by the Housing Choice Voucher Program. We have over 400 of those. So surveys go out to every single location that we have, and then you can see the results here. So the overwhelmingly either excellent or good on the conditions of their home, the indoor spaces, the outside grounds, their feelings of safety, how they feel at night, the overall safety of the neighborhood. When you look at good or excellent, that's the vast majority of the comments. Also understanding the lease, staff communications with the housing authority, understanding the information, how quickly they respond, the satisfaction with the services provided by OCHA, and the maintenance and repair work, the timeline, the timeliness of responses. And this is, again, this is aggregated. This is not about one location. This is all locations combined.
Hey,
I'm happy to take any questions about that.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Shin? Yes.
Yes, I just want to come back to Crescent Park.
Yes.
So when we first started all this discussion, that was going to be one of the developments that was first up on the plan.
Yes.
But now you come back with this report and it's on hold with having more conversations. I'm not hopeful that that's going to happen.
So it's been very challenging. Before I came to the Housing Authority had put a plan forward. That plan did not follow through. Since I've come here, we worked with Baker Tilly as a consulting firm, and we put a 170-unit proposal, which I had been reporting to MAPS. That project came up $8 million short. We had to relinquish our tax credit reservation with the Oklahoma Housing Finance Agency. We subsequently brought in a third-party developer who presented another plan with financing for 164 units, but the group being convened by Councilor Pennington did not want to accept that proposal. So we've come forward with 3 different proposals with financing plans, which have been very challenging to get all the financing together. But this group wants to look at a different type of mixed-use project proposal. And so what we're doing, Mark, Gilla, and I are engaging in that process with Councilor Pennington and all the other stakeholders who have a concept of a mixed-use project, but they have not detailed any financing plan to go with that. It's just a concept right now. So what we're agreeing to do is pause and continue that community engagement and listen to all the stakeholders and find out what their plan is that's feasible for us to move forward. Because I said we have HUD approval for the disposition to Community Enhancement Corporation, and then we could go ahead and demo those vacant houses. But because they may have other ideas about some of those houses and other buildings that they want to put on that site, we're holding right now while we listen to what their proposals are to see if we can come up with a mutually acceptable plan. And I know that they've been sitting there vacant for a while, and our concern is that we cannot hold on for too long just sitting there with those vacant homes. We need to have a plan, a structured plan with financing. And so we're kind of embracing the community process to see if we can get there quickly. Can they come up with a plan and a financing plan that'll work, that I can come back here and report on also?
How long, I'm sorry, did you have a follow-up question? So, kind of to Monique's point, this seems like this project has kind of drug along.
Yes.
is there a timeline? Do you have, I mean, I think it would make us feel better to know that you've said, okay, we're going to work diligently, we're going to have something with this community group, and we need to know in X, number of months or quarters, we either have a go plan or we don't. Has that
Yes.
discussion been had?
Well, now you're thinking like me, okay? So we're listening to these proposals, and what I've said in the meetings is your concepts look like a nice neighborhood, but I need a financing plan, and I need a timeline. Like, how is that going to be, if we're going to go with, okay, we'll keep the $2.5 million maps in there, that's one option, but what are the other subsidies going to be, and how are you going to bring those to the table, and how long is it going to take to get all those to the table? So we also had city GOLT financing in there, and we had ARPA dollars that we were going to use, and we could do the demo with those ARPA dollars, which have to be spent by the end of 2026. So there are some timelines and deadlines with the money that's in the project if you look at the whole capital stack, and this project does need to move. So in this engagement process, that's what we're going to kind of push for, is we need a timeline for how this is going to take place. So we feel comfortable with what's going to happen with what the community wants to see happen with the land that we own.
Yeah, right, okay. I think that's where we would urge to say we need to, set a deadline for making a decision.
That's noted, and we will definitely bring that back to the community partners.
Thank you.
Okay.
For the community partners, do they have, I mean, these are very complicated plans when you get into all those extra financing and all the things you're talking about. Do they have the expertise to follow through on that?
Well,
or do they have someone guiding them, I guess, is really what,
So they're engaging some other consultants and designers in the community that are coming up with some multifamily housing design, maybe some preservation of some of the old homes that are vacant, and also new home ownership models or different types in buildings, what they're calling different building typologies, okay? In the plans that we presented, we had 7 different building types, sizes and whatever, but it was mostly multifamily looking or townhome style. They want an even larger variety of building typologies. So, but there's, like I said, they have no financing plan to go with that right now. So where we are is we can engage with the community and take feedback and be in a partnership with them, but we do need a schedule of how we're going to move forward. So like Chairman Rose here said that we need a schedule, and we need a plan that's feasible, so, but we also want to reflect that we're open and we're listening. So we're at the table. We don't want to just force something on the community that they don't want. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to try to help expand affordable housing as we're mandated with the MAPS money. We want to create new units of affordable housing, more than what was there before when those homes were occupied. That's the mandate of the MAPS money, is to leverage other sources and expand access. That's what we're still trying to do.
And I think we do appreciate you working with the community. This is just kind of drug on for a little bit. So, Lenny, did you have?
Yes, I just want to say, ultimately, it's good to work with the community, but ultimately, it is your department's, your agency's plan.
Yes.
And when we initially talked about this, there was a low level of confidence that your agency could do this. I'm still at that level, very low confidence, very disappointed in this review here.
I accept that. It has taken an extraordinarily long period of time, and this could have been completed a long time ago. Financing has been a real challenge, but again, with this group, let's see what they can arrive at. If they want to finance many different types of buildings, how is that going to be possible? And what will the housing authority's role be in that? That's all on the table right now. So.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Thank you very much, Greg, for being here today. Appreciate it. So I would take a motion in a second to receive that report. It's not working? Okay, so do I have a motion? Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a We have a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign? Aye. Okay, we have one nay. Okay, for the sake of time, because we're going to lose our quorum here in a little bit, I'd like to move to item 2K. Recommend approval of engineering services contract with Poe and Associates for MAPS 4 sidewalks and related amenities, Phase 4A, 4B, 4C.
Right, so this is another sidewalk project that was selected in the same way that all of you have been involved in, ready to go on more sidewalks.
Okay, any questions? Okay, if not, I'd take a verbal, wait, is it working? No. Okay, a motion and a second. So we have a We have a motion. Second. We have a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Okay. Item 2L, recommend approval of architectural services contract with Design Architects Plus for the MAPS 4 Youth Center Phase 2, $1,104,000.
This is the second of our youth centers, and again, architect was selected in the usual way. Ready to go.
Exciting. Any questions? Okay, if not, I take a motion. Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Moving on to item 2M, recommend final acceptance of the MAPS 3 Senior Health and Wellness Center number 4, additional improvements and placing maintenance bonds into effect.
So this is out of our MAPS 3 program. This is at Wellness Center 4, which is on Southwestern. This is the additional pickleball courts and a divisor wall that was put in the multipurpose room.
Okay,
It's all done.
fantastic, done. Any questions? Okay, if not, I take a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Okay. Item 2N, recommend adoption of resolution transferring $1,314,174 from the MAPS 3 Convention Center budget to Oklahoma City river sport improvements.
Remember that there was $5 million left over in the Convention Center budget, and we had discussion and agreed that that would go towards the improvements that are needed at the Whitewater facility for the Olympics. Previously, we approved, or this body approved, about 3.7 of that 5 million. This is just the balance of that 5 million.
Okay, any questions?
And it's being administered through Public Works is why we have to transfer it over.
Great, okay, any questions? Not, take a motion in a second.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion in a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Okay, now we will go back to item 2I, which is a presentation on the construction update for the MAPS 4 sidewalk Phase 1B.
Right, so Brandon Everhart from SRB is here, and he's going to give a very quick presentation before we lose our quorum here, so I'd like to turn it over to Brandon.
All right. Thank you, David Todd, for the introduction. Thank you, the board, for the opportunity to present. This is a connectivity project focused in on 3 pedestrian priority areas, or PPAs, in the southwestern part of the city. The goal was to expand the city networks of walkable sidewalks and modernize older sidewalks up to ADA standards, thereby improving accessibility and safety for pedestrians. This project started on January 20th of last year and awarded to EMC Services in the amount of just over $2,286,000. We're entering our 13th month of construction, and we hope to be finished pretty soon. The first PPA was situated around Western Avenue near Southwest Grand Boulevard. And this PPA is largely defined by the Capitol Hill High School, the Southwest Medical Center, and neighborhoods and businesses. When we last presented in September, pretty much all this PPA was completed except for the south side of 38th Street. After a pause in construction to allow the Utilities Department to expedite a water line installation, This PPA is now complete except for a couple punch list items that will be addressed prior to final closeout, and those are colored in orange. Here are some of the recent improvements on the south side of 38th Street. This new sidewalk now matches nicely with the accompanying new sidewalk on the north side. The second PPA was Pennsylvania Avenue near Southwest 51st and 55th Streets. This area, some notable landmarks in this area are the U.S. Grant High School, Coolidge Elementary, and neighborhoods. When we last presented in September, only 55th Street was completed. However, now all alignments, in addition to the added new alignments along Villa and Agnew Avenues, are finished. On this map, you can also see a red line on the north-south of Southwest 51st Street, and that indicates the partial deletion of sidewalk that we instead shifted to work along the new avenues, or the new alignments of Villa and Agnew. And I'll talk more about that later. Here are some progress photos picking up where we last left off along Southwest 51st Street. On the after photo on the right, you can see a great example of variable height curbing or integral curbing on the sidewalk that is used to mitigate property impacts. Shown here are the improvements on the blocks near U.S. Grant High School. You can see on the after photo on the right that in addition to the sidewalk and ramps that we constructed, we also provided a new gutter and mountable curb to replace what was existing. These blocks east of Penn on Southwest 51st Street had a very deteriorated gutter line like what you see on the before photo on the left, and this will lead into one of the amendment items that I'll talk about later. I mentioned previously that we had a partial delete on the north side of 51st Street, and this decision came about due to the steep yards and conflicts anticipated. Shown here is an example of a steep driveway and a tree obstruction along this scope. Although it was unfortunate that we couldn't install the north side sidewalk, this project was still able to install a sidewalk on the south side. So there's still a pedestrian pathway for locals on these two blocks. And shown here is one of the new added alignments of Agnew Avenue, which was added as a field change. And this half-mile connector now is now ready between Southwest 51st Street all the way down to the section line arterial of Southwest 59th. Although we were able to reuse a lot of the sidewalk pay items from the deleted 51st Street segment, there were some commercial driveways and parking lots not included in the original bid. And our third and final PPA was called Far South OKC, and this is loosely situated around Western Avenue near Westmore High School. This area is largely defined by the arterial roadways of Western and Southwest 134th Street, the MAPS 3 Health and Wellness Center, and neighborhoods and businesses. Shown here is the Southwest 134th Street alignment, and that was completed in the final days of 2025. And here are some before and after photos of that same alignment. You can see how our new sidewalk works with the existing drainage conditions, such as along the ditch or across flumes. Construction is currently underway at Westmore High School, where this project is installing sidewalk from the school down to an existing sidewalk just south of 126th Street. You can see on the right photos of the recently completed bridge crossing and street return at Southwest 126th Street. The center photo shows the retaining wall being formed up as of this week outside of Westmore High School. And I hear as of yesterday, they probably poured their last batch of concrete. So now we're just looking forward to cleanup and restoration. The contractor will be out of here in the next week or two. And after Westmore, the final alignment will be along Kings Ridge Drive, along Merle Medley Park, near Pennsylvania Avenue. For Kings Ridge, it's mostly incidental tasks, such as connecting gaps and repairing broken sidewalk panels. Shown here are two of the examples of the gaps we'll be connecting. We imagine the contractor is only going to be here for a week or two, and then we're looking forward to final inspections and project closeout. For your consideration today is the first amendment for this project, which requests additional quantities related to sidewalk construction. 3,800 linear feet of curb and gutter is being requested, and this was needed for spot repairs for when our sidewalk abutted up curbing in bad condition. However, primarily, it was used to replace the gutter line along 51st Street near U.S. Grant High School, and there's a photo of that on the right. 3,500 linear feet of integral curb shown on the left were also necessary additions made in the field to mitigate property impacts. And 3,500 square yards of driveway is included, and this was needed for work along the revised Agnew alignment, where we encountered commercial driveways and parking lots not originally included in the bid, in addition to general field changes made across all alignments to account for elevation differences. The center two photos are great representations of that driveway work. The middle left shows the additional length to taper on each side of the sidewalk path to taper back to existing. And the middle right shows having to go through an apartment complex's parking lot. 380 feet of handrail is also being requested, and this was needed for the revised sidewalk alignment on 134th Street. Hand railing, shown on the left, was a needed measure to ensure pedestrian safeties and prevent fall-offs into the ditch. And also included are various adjustments for valves, meters, signs, pool boxes, like was shown in the middle photo. And these adjustments are necessary to ensure that our sidewalk remains as straight and true as possible without needing to snake or meander between obstructions in the field. And lastly, 1,100 cubic yards of traffic-bound surface course, which is also called aggregate base, was needed for the additional paving quantities. Also for your consideration today is change order number 6, which encompasses 55 water meter box replacements. When this project encounters a City of Oklahoma City utility water meter box, replacement is necessary for some, but not all, of those water meter boxes to meet current city standards. In addition, 21 added days is also being requested for time lost due to freezing temperature or rain. And with that, here is the project summary with the pending change order number 6 and amendment number 1 at the bottom, putting the adjusted contract amount just over $3 million, which is still under budget. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So with that, we'll move to item 2J, recommend approval of amendments number 1 and change order number 6 that were just described for an increase of $712,470.
Can I just
yes.
reiterate that that big number is because we've added a lot of sidewalk. So everybody understands that. It's not a problem out there. We've added, and we will continue to do this with our projects. When they come in under budget, we will keep building sidewalks till we run out of money.
Love it.
Okay.
Great. Okay.
Can I get one in my neighborhood?
Okay, so 2J, do I have a motion and a second? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Okay, we did it. Thank you so much. Appreciate all the presenters. Item 3, discussion items.
You don't have anything.
Okay. Item 4, subcommittee reports. Any subcommittee reports for today? Okay. Item 5, update status of MAPS 4 program.
Just real quickly, a couple of things that we didn't mention today. Diversion Hub is going great, getting real close to being complete. So this spring, we'll be cutting the ribbon on that project. Palomar is also going great. They're getting ready to pour the second floor of that project. We're doing sidewalks, as you saw. Bike lanes are underway. The soccer fields, both South Lakes and Cameron, are under construction. And there's a lot of work in the Innovation District, sidewalks and bike lanes.
Fantastic. Any questions for Mr. Todd? Okay, if not, moving on to item 6. Do we have any citizens? Okay. Any comments from board or staff?
I just wanted to wish David Todd a happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy
69.
50th birthday.
That's awesome. Great. Happy birthday.
We appreciate you very, very much, David. Okay, thank you, Mr. All right, if no other comments, then item 7, we are adjourned. Great job.